How is everyone doing today? If you have any questions or suggestions for topics you want us to go over, please let us know in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just do a tour and show you how to use our newest features. So first off, I wanted to show our new create page. We've added the text to 2D right under the upload box, just so it's easier to generate images and generate 3D models straight from those AI images. So for example, if you wanted to generate a mug, you can wait for it to load, set your settings, input the height, and generate straight from there. We also have a new learning center for newer users who may not be familiar with 3D terminology or with Kaedim. So these are just really helpful resources for you to take a look at. Some of these link to our documentation, and we'll be adding on to this as well. And another thing to note is before you generate your 3D models, we highly recommend viewing the input guidelines before you do so, just to make sure that your generation is processed properly. So currently we don't process real humans or real foliage, inappropriate imagery of course, and real animals as well. So we have a checklist here just to double check all of your input images to make sure that they are formatted in the best way possible so that you can have an accurate 3D model. We also have some input image examples in our documentation. So we have some examples for furniture. You can upload multiple views. We recommend orthographic views. These come out with the most accurate 3D models, but perspective views are fine too. And you don't always need multiple views of your image. A single image is enough. So inputs to avoid are, images that contain multiple objects. So try to keep them minimal. Another new addition to our app is the showcase page. So we add on to this weekly, and we try to showcase different assets in different generation qualities. So for example, this is generated in standard, high, and ultra. So you can click on an asset and view it in the 3D viewer. And these are all generated with Kaedim. You can go back to your account. We also have a new subscription system for add-ons. So you can subscribe to a specific add-on plan, which is a monthly payment, and you can use the add-on for an unlimited amount of times per month. So we have automatic texturing, UV unwrapping, and LODs. So instead of costing 1 credit per UV unwrap, for example, you can have it unlimited for a month. And for LODs, if you're not familiar with what LODs are, this is more specifically used for game development or animation. It's really useful to have different levels, poly count levels for your assets depending on how far they are from the camera. So this is just an easy way to create all of those versions. So these will be applied to all of your generations after you've subscribed to the plan. And we also have a support page here. It links to our latest web app demo, which we have just released the January web app demo. So if you want a comprehensive tutorial on how to use everything in Kaedim, please go watch that. Is there anything you guys want me to generate during this stream? Yes, you can give me an image to process in 3D. You can email support@kaedim3d.com. I will drop that in the chat. And let me show you some examples of our features. So I mentioned the add-ons from earlier. So this is an example of image projection, which can be found in our automatic texturing. So for this one, let me show you how it looked originally. So this was the original generation from this input image. And I knew I wanted to use image projection on this, so I made sure that the image was facing the camera straight on, meaning that it's not in perspective. And the reason for that is that the way image projection works is you upload an image to texture your model, and that projects straight onto your model. So it doesn't really have a consideration for perspective. So that's always something to keep in mind when using image projection. If you have an image in perspective, like this one, for example, this won't really give you the best results for image projection. So we recommend stylized for these images in perspective if you're looking to texture your models. And for PBR, this is for more realistic textures. So let me see if I can find an example. So this is a wood texture that was applied to this model, and I used the original input image for this one. So PBR texturing includes the base color, normals, and the roughness. So you can see that some parts look like they're scratched. That's able to be achieved in PBR. Okay. If you'd like to see any of the assets that we have here in the assets page, let me know and I can send a link so that you can see it in a 3D viewer. So if you'd like to share an asset that you've generated in Kaedim or uploaded in Kaedim, you can just click on your asset, open 3D Studio, and you'll find a share link here. And this is what that will look like. And this works for colored assets as well. So you can just click on the colored version, copy the link. Oh. And you can share over here as well. So click this toggle button and copy link. So this is really useful for if you're collaborating on an asset and need reviews or feedback, or if you just want to share your asset on social media. Okay. And we also have an iteration feature. So this is a way for you to edit your models that you've made in Kaedim or uploaded to Kaedim. And how to use this is you can either encircle something and describe your edits, or you can draw something as well if you'd like to add to your model, or you can upload an image of what you want to add to your model and simply describe where you want to add it. So for this one, I uploaded an image of a letter and I wrote here to add it to his right hand, and that makes a new version that you can click on here, and you can see that it's been added. So you can both edit and add on to your models. Okay, we've received the input images, so I will download those. Okay. So once you upload your images to Kaedim, the background will automatically be removed. So there's no need to edit it in another program. So for this one, I will choose high, or maybe ultra, since it has a lot of accessories. I'll just name this unicorn. You can also input the height, but since I don't really have a specific height for this one, I'll just start generating. Oh, and before you choose your generation quality, you can also compare qualities by clicking here. And we've implemented this so that you can easily compare between the 3 generation qualities. Sometimes people get a bit confused on which generation quality to choose. So I think this is a very helpful visual to see the differences between the 3. I'll just generate that. And we also have uploaded 3D models here. So you can upload 3D models even if they weren't made in Kaedim and use our features on them. So for example, we've used the projection here. We've also used iterate. So you can use any of our features on the models that you've uploaded as well. And I can show you how uploading a 3D model works. So you just go to the create page, click upload 3D model, and you can upload an FBX file. I'm not sure if I have any here. So this is one that we made in Kaedim. So you can upload both textured and untextured 3D models. Name it, and once you click upload, it will then be added to your assets page. So once your model starts generating, you'll see when you click on it all the stages that it has to go through before it will be available to view and download. So currently it's processing. And let me see if I can go through the rest of the features as well. Another good use for iteration is creating different versions of your model within one asset. Let me see if I can So this was the original generated model, and I used the iteration feature to change his hat. And once you've received that iteration or that iterated version, you'll be able to download it separately and have two different versions of your model. And you can also use the different features or color them separately as well. Add an option to optimize high poly models after it has been generated. So it would have all the details, then detail polygons would be optimized. Yes, so for optimizing your models, for example, if you have generated in Ultra, you can always use our generate LODs feature to bring down the poly count. So this is a way to optimize your models as well. And once you have generated that LOD with a lower poly count, you'll be able to download that version separate from the original model, and you'll be able to bake on the normals or do whatever you need to optimize it once you import it into another program. So can you tell us how you usually go about implementing this in your process? Like after you've optimized the models, how do you make sure that the detail is still captured? And another way to optimize your assets as well is to use the merge feature. So this just decreases the amount of meshes you have for each asset, so that it's easier when you import into Blender or some other program. So for example, this car has the tires all as separate meshes, and since they'll all be the same material, you can just merge them as one mesh. And I find that makes it really easy to import it into another program. Details can be baked in textures if needed. Yes, so our generate LODs is a very useful feature for that. Once you've inputted all of your LODs here, all of your poly count levels here, it'll be automatically applied to all of the generations, all of your generations, and you'll have a version for each one. So that makes it easy to bake on the details onto a lower poly mesh. And another question or another Yeah, another question that we get a lot as well is asking about rigging. So currently we don't have a auto rigging feature, but it is something that we're looking into. For now, we recommend that if you want to generate characters that you'll be rigging later on, to have them in either an A or a T pose. If you submit a character in an A pose like this and want it to be turned into a T pose, you can use the iterate feature, and you can say change to T pose. But if the character is in a completely different pose and not just like standing like this, then that won't really be possible for the iteration feature. For example, for this one, he has his hands in his pocket. It won't really be possible to generate that into, or iterate that into a T pose. So that's just something to keep in mind before generating, just to make it easier for you so you don't have to iterate your models. And we do have all of this information as well on in our input guidelines, which can be found in our documentation. So we have some examples here. And we also have some useful links up here as well. If you want to apply for free credits, or if you want a product tour, you can click on these links and schedule a meeting with us so that we can help you through your workflow. So this is our merged asset. You can see that now all the tires are on the same mesh. So yes, you can apply for free credits by clicking on this link. Currently, we don't have a system for weekly or monthly free credits, but we are always trying to make our app accessible. So this might be something we'll look into in the future. What type of assets are you thinking of making? In our documentation, you can also find a lot of information for each feature and the corresponding video tutorial. Characters and buildings. Are you making a game or an animation? We've also added a new case studies page, so you can learn more about the different use cases for Kaedim. So here we have one for Upland, which is a game studio. Myth Studio is an animation studio, and we also have one with Matthew McGrain, who is an architect, using Kaedim to generate models for a metaverse venue. So yes, if you are interested in free credits, please apply using the link that John sent in the chat. And for each asset that you have here, you'll also be able to see the original prompt that you used, if you used text to 2D, or if you just uploaded an image, you can view that here as well. If you've started editing your model outside of Kaedim, you can also upload the latest version here, which works like the upload 3D model in our create page. Can you do some real-time 2D to 3D? Yes, so we have started generating this model with these images, so we're just waiting on that. If you guys have any features you're interested in, and if you have any images that you want us to generate during the stream, you can send that over to our support email. So these are some examples of what we generated from the last stream. This was sent in by one of our viewers. And we also generated this house, which was from a photo, or from photos. I'd love to know what everyone is using Kaedim for as well, what kind of assets you're making. We always love hearing about, your different projects and the different ways you guys are using Kaedim. And if you're part of our Discord as well, we have a show your model or show your work channel, and we really like seeing what you guys share over there too. This is another one we generated during our last stream. And to use the fill color tool, all you have to do is select a mesh and then use our color picker here to to fill it in. You also have different options for materials over here under color effects. So you can view that in real time. So we have glossy, transparent, mirror, and glossy metal. And once you've saved that, you can also download the FBX file for your model. And once you import that into another program, the materials will be included on your asset. So for our Discord, you will be able to you will get an invite to the Discord server once you're on a plan. And once you are in the Discord server, you can talk to us directly, talk to the team directly for any questions or concerns you have. And we can give you more personalized support for your assets. So Kaedim can work for more stylized images like this, regular photos, and it also works for hand-drawn images like this. If you guys have interesting use cases for Kaedim, we would love to hear about it. You can schedule a meeting with us again by clicking either of these links, and we can kind of go through all of the features and ways you can use Kaedim specifically for your workflow. If you'd like to stay up to date as well, we have a list of all of our releases here and what we're working on. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, please let us know in the chat or just by messaging us directly on any of our social media. And we'll be happy to go over that in future streams as well. So yes, applying for free credits, once you schedule a meeting, it is either a Google Meet or a Zoom call, and we'll essentially walk you through how to generate your asset and generate it live for you. And if you use any of these programs, we do have plugins for Omniverse, Unity, Blender, and Unreal Engine. So we have a step-by-step guide on how to use these plugins And once you've loaded that into your program, you'll be able to download your assets and import directly, import your assets within your preferred program from Kaedim. Yes, as John has mentioned, the meeting is a video call, but you are, whatever communication you prefer is all right with us. And another way you can use the iteration feature is to create fast prototypes of your model. So I started with this, for example, and I was able to keep adding on to it and change the design. So this is a useful feature for product designers or architects who are always iterating on their designs. And it's just a super quick and easy way to see that in 3D. And here is another asset that we generated from one of our previous streams. So we generated this with 128,000 poly counts or polys. We chose Ultra, and using the generate LODs feature, we were able to bring that down to 86,000. We'd love to know as well which programs you mostly use for your 3D process. This is just something we like to keep in mind to make our app easier for everyone to get started. So let us know which other programs you use for your 3D process. Roblox Studio, I'm a game developer. Awesome. Yeah, we've definitely had a few users who are also creating in Roblox Studio. They find that Kaedim is really useful for just making a bunch of assets at once. And another thing is you can generate multiple assets at one time. So you can batch upload. And we really recommend doing this as well, just so it saves you time. You don't need to wait for a model to finish generating before uploading a new image. Awesome. And for your game development process, do you use any other programs, for example, for rigging or texturing? And for game development as well, There are usually a lot of smaller assets like environmental assets, for example, plants or rocks. So we recommend using standard for those smaller elements, and that just saves you a lot of time instead of having to manually model each one, especially for repeatable assets. I use Blender. Awesome. Yeah, we do have a plugin available for that as well. So it's really easy to load your Kaedim assets onto Blender for either further editing or just to add that onto a scene. So if you do get onto, or if you do subscribe to one of our plans, you can try out the plugin as well. Can standard make a human face? So it really depends on how realistic the face is. As I mentioned earlier, usually we don't process highly realistic humans or animals. One workaround that we have found is you can use a cartoon filter, which can be found online, to pass your image through and use Kaedim to generate the model. And for standard, you can generate a face, but it will most likely not have the amount of detail in your input image. So that's something to keep in mind. Standard is mostly for lower detailed outputs. So if you want a more detailed 3D model, then we recommend choosing high or ultra, especially if it's a key element for your game or for your model. So we've seen the input image. I will just download that. Give me 1 second. So I'll just drag and drop that. And for this, I'll use high. I can start generating. Can it generate PS1 styled assets? I'm not sure what that looks like, but so long as it adheres to our input guidelines, we will be able to generate it. So let me show you some examples of what standard can give you. So this is a fairly simple input image, and we generated this in standard. As you can see, the poly count is on the lower side. This was in standard as well. So we recommend standard mostly for assets that don't have a lot of detail, or if you want just the basic shapes of the model to be captured. For more detailed models, like this rocket that has these, bevels on the side and these screws, we recommend choosing high or ultra. And the same goes for assets that have multiple parts as well, like these ruins. It is fairly simple, but there are a lot of components to it. And if you guys have any suggestions for what we can add to the showcase as well, like more characters or more vehicles or weapons, let us know. And this is another asset that I colored and textured in Kaedim. So for this one, I used the fill color tool and I applied some different color effects to replicate the brass elements. Some weapons like a sheriff revolver would be cool. Yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind, and we'll add that on to our showcase as well. And has anyone here used Kaedim before, or is this your first time kind of seeing how it works? Yeah, definitely. I think animals, we don't have a lot of those examples in our showcase right now, so that would be a good asset to add. Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to know how you found out about Kaedim. And yeah, thank you so much for also participating in the stream. So if you're not familiar, we do these streams weekly. And we do these so that you guys can ask questions or give us feedback or suggestions, and also for newer users to, get familiar with the app as well. This is another character that we generated last stream. And if you guys have any specific questions about the features, please let us know as well. So for UV Unwrap, this is available for either 1 credit, or if you get the add-on subscription, you'll be able to use it unlimited times per month. And once you have submitted your model for automatic UV unwrapping, you can download the FBX or OBJ file, and once you import that into your program, you'll be able to see the UV map, the unwrapped UV map as well. And for the fill color tool, you can turn on the switch to color pick from your input image. So your image will show up here, or you can upload your own image to color pick from. And you can just click on any color within the image, and that will apply that to the mesh for you. So I think the fill color tool is super fun to play around with and to make different versions of your models as well. So once you hit save, that'll also create a new version of your model in the assets page. So if you've signed up for a meeting, we will contact you. And you'll be provided with the link to join the meeting. All right, bye Rainbow. Thank you for joining the stream. And for all of the assets that we've made here as well, we always share them to our social media after each stream. So please make sure to check out our social media as well. And our new pre-modifiers feature lets you both view and download your asset without the modifiers. So this makes it easier to kind of implement those your Kaedim made assets into your specific workflow. If you find that modifiers are sometimes, tricky to work with, you can always download the pre-modifier version, and you can view that as well. So you can see that it also changes the amount of polys as well. And you can download that by clicking OBJ pre-modifiers. Are there any features that you guys would want to see in the future? Also, as a quick rundown for all of the buttons here that you'll find in the 3D Studio, this shows your original input image that you uploaded. This shows the scale of your model. And you can also view the wireframe here as well. You can delete your model through this button, and you can also share. And we have a lot of formats for you to choose from when downloading. So if you download multiple, that just downloads a zip file onto your computer, and you'll be able to import that into any of your preferred programs. If you have any input images that you'd like us to generate for future streams as well, you can send that over to support@kaedim3d.com, and we can showcase that live for you in the next streams. So this is a 3D asset that I was able to generate from a single drawing. So it is always an option for you to only submit one input image, so long as it shows most of the character or object that you want to generate. You can also submit turnarounds. So here I have the front, side, and back view. And this really helps with getting a more accurate 3D model, especially if it has a lot of details. Is there anyone in the audience that uses Kaedim for AR models? Or VR? So as I mentioned earlier as well, this is really useful for product design, for super fast prototyping, especially if you want to try out different colors or materials for your designs. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier as well, if you'd like to see a full comprehensive tutorial on how to use Kaedim, we have our latest tutorial linked here. And we do update that monthly as well, and we always make sure to add in any of our latest releases to make sure that you guys are able to use them or know how to use them and familiarize yourself with the app as well. All right, I think that should be it for today. If anyone else has questions, please let us know through our socials or Discord. And we'll make sure to send these assets and share them so that you guys will be able to see them in the 3D viewer as well. And next week we'll also be having another live stream on Wednesday at 11 a.m. PST. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. All right, thank you so much, everyone. We'll be sending over the links to all of our social media in the chat. All right, thank you.